Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Spooked Coast to Coast. And as always, you are hosted by JJ Paranormal Joy. How's it going, Joy?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I just woke up from a nap.
Oh,
Can't you tell?
I need one. Go.
We'll need together here, guys.
And as always, from 305 Paranormal, we have the beautiful Jen and the sometimes gorgeous Mondo. How's it going, everybody? I hope you guys had
Gorgeous.
So no Jamondo today, huh?
Mondo is no longer with us. He's might be coming back in another episode.
Oh my gosh.
Jamondo left the building.
The Jamondo is gone. But I hope you guys have had an amazing weekend.
Yes.
And babe, why don't you tell the good folks about our guest that we have?
Hey, chat. First off, in the chat, I want to say hi real quick. Limestone, Yvette,
Jenny.
Hey, Jenny 𝗟𝗓𝗀𝗃𝗃. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
And then the folks on Joy's side, because I cannot see y'all. Hello, hello, hello.
Nobody tuned in yet.
They'll be there. Don't worry.
It's okay. We send everybody to your side anyway, so it's okay.
I know. They're slowly rolling in.
You're better at the comments than I am anyway.
For real. Yeah. See, I do this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a sub. 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗀𝗘 was supposed to be on, but we got his assistant. Who tell us?
We have a return guest.
We have a return guest,
yeah.
and that's Austin Maynard. And we're gonna get into the IDC Institute and Travelers, which is kind of like touch on what we didn't really get full on last time when we talked to Austin. So let's go with Austin.
Austin. Thank you, sir.
How everybody doing?
Thanks for being back.
Good catch, right?
For real.
How you guys doing?
How do you say? Oh my God! How did you write it on the director? Thank you, director of on-site operations of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, that basically just means that when we're on site, JW has all of these computers and systems set up, and he's getting everything going, everything. I'm making sure that all of the cameras are getting positioned properly, wires getting run properly, all that good stuff is really just making sure that all the equipment is set up right.
Yeah,
it's an
you're
important
running
job.
everything in the background, which is super important too. So
yeah, it's very important.
Big time.
Yeah, something like that, I guess.
All right. So to get started, we want to get into the IDC Institute and the Travelers series that you guys filmed. So let me go to the
Chidi.
Oh, Chidi. Hey, what's up, Chidi? Where I was gonna go start with.
Oh my gosh, let's start.
All right. So the idea of Travelers, he uses let's say like some type of special beats, maybe like binaural beats, or like I'm thinking he does like a 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃, right?
Yeah.
To put people in a meditative state. And I guess when you guys do the show, does he give them like instructions on like maybe what they're supposed to be doing while they're in that state of mind? Or I mean, where they're kind of like out?
Well, a lot of times he has the instructions kind of like in the audio itself. Like they'll actually hear spoken word instructions on, like it's kind of embedded into the meditation audio. So it kind of makes the instructions a little smoother while they're trying to, yeah.
All right. And so what I wanted to ask about that was, what was the thoughts of, because I use 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃, right? Like I've always done the gateway experience
Process.
Yeah, like, and that's actually what helped me kind of like learn how to meditate. It sounds crazy, but now I can because of that. So I understand like what people, I don't know, what people experience.
Wait. Hold on. Can I ask? I gotta stop you for a second. Just because I'm so like into this, I gotta ask the question. Like you learned how to meditate from doing the gateway process?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like reverse. Like you would learn to meditate and then learn the gateway process, because the only way you can successfully do the gateway process is if you know how to meditate and know how to get to 𝗟𝗡𝗄𝗃. So I guess I was just curious.
Like I couldn't do it before. I would just like fall asleep. Eventually, the more I did like focus one or tape one,
Okay.
ended up not doing that. And I know, like, I'm like, it's literally like your body's asleep, but like your mind is awake. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's more with
like astral traveling kind of thing.
Oh yeah. So after that, and I would use some other like YouTube random videos here and there, but I would get different experiences with different things I was listening to.
Yeah.
But I have done with that numerous experiences. I kind of say, I want to say I've kind of astral traveled. I've had an experience where I feel like like he astral traveled and then he didn't know it, and he still doesn't know. Like it didn't happen for him, but
yeah,
he woke me up and he was like translucent, and I was like, what the fuck? So that was crazy. Yeah, like literally like woke me up like this, and I'm looking, I'm like, can you like stop?
You could like see through him kind of.
Yeah, he was like bluish, and then
and you could like kind of see silhouettes through him. That's crazy.
Yeah, but he woke me up. But normally how he would wake me up. Hey, Brandon. So I kind of like sleep like a vampire. Just back in the day, my baby, no, I was thinking like my hands on my stomach, and I had my kid, she was like smaller, sleeping with me.
Like more like Snow White or Sleeping Beauty or something.
Yeah,
right?
like Sleeping Beauty. Like
Yeah. All right.
He was like touching my hands, right? So I kind of like woke up, and that's normally how he would wake me up. He doesn't go like, hey, or whatever, because he knows I'll go crazy on his ass. So
you have to ease into it.
Yeah.
I picked a few things up being married to her for 13 years.
Yeah.
So he woke me up, and I'm like, hey, can you stop? I literally was talking to him, and then I started gathering. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, hey, like you're gonna wake her up.
Right.
And he was like still doing this, and then he got like stopped, and he like backed out, and he like stood there, and then he like walked away. Not walked away, he like backed. Someone like he like walked backwards, and then it kind of like just dissipated.
Yeah.
Just like the Homer Simpson.
But I was like, he did
into the bushes.
Into the bushes, but like into like the hallway, and I was like, whoa, what the hell was that? And so that was one of the first kind of like beginnings when I first started doing like those types of meditations.
Yeah.
That was odd. I never got that again. But
some people are able to travel like really a lot easier than others. It is so like you mentioned the YouTube videos that you saw. Like some people are able to travel real easily if they fall asleep to those.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt it if they happen.
Oh no, that shit. It woke me up, Austin.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it woke me up. I touched it. It touched me, whatever the hell it was.
Right.
It's like, hey, look at me. Look what I can do.
Yeah, look what I can do. But that's crazy because people say that in your dreams, like you supposedly go off to like another realm.
Some people can. I feel like certain people can. They say a lot of people say that everybody has the ability to, and a lot of people just don't remember it. There's a whole bunch of things with it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's hard. It's hard to like quantify it or like, to measure who's really traveling and who's just having a dream, or what I mean? It's really difficult. And so a lot of what we do and what we look for is like correlations between between participants. If one participant describes something very specific, and then 2 interviews later another participant describes something exactly the same, those are things that we're looking at, but it doesn't happen very often, which we kind of expected. But I mean, there's the occasional one that's kind of like Interesting. Like, there's a lot of weird coincidences that go on while we do these things. Like a lot of them. And I mean, at a certain point, I guess I'm really understating it just because it gets to the point where it's like crazy and like nobody's gonna believe us. So
Yeah. Have you guys did like a test? Are you doing studies like in an area, like a building, like you have people there? Or okay, so have you guys done a test where you put something random in a room and you have whoever's doing it and then they both have to go to that room?
So actually funny you mentioned that. This last experiment that we did at the Broadwell Funeral Home in May, we had a participant who we did an experiment where we hid 3 items. And so we had her and another person go into the 𝗟𝗶, which is the star with a 5-point star with a center point, which is the 𝗟𝗶. We had 2 people go into specific points. One was the girl who she says she's a medium, but she doesn't really brag about it. And then the other girl had no abilities whatsoever. But we basically gave her the task of, we need you to find 3. We're going to hide 3 items, and we just need you to find them and tell us what they are.
Yeah.
And so JW gave me the task of picking out 3 items and hiding them, like kind of last minute. And there are obvious reasons that we do that.
Yeah.
And so she went up, she got in her thing, and then that's when I went in and I hid these 3 items. I hid like a vial of water from the Conjuring house. I put a piece of paper and wrote the word, like, I don't even remember, like robotics or something. I can't remember what I wrote. But then the 3rd item was a key, which I hid under a dollar bill that's up in a closet where the kids play. She found all 3 items, and she couldn't tell me what the word was on the piece of paper. And she couldn't tell me, the only thing that she like correctly identified really was the key. She said it was a key that looked a little rusted and old, and it was a key to the house itself. So yeah, that was correct. And she found it right under the dollar bill. And she like stated the locations and everything beforehand. And then we had her take us in and lead us to each of the items. The second item was that vial of water I got from the Conjuring house. I hid behind a mask on a mantelpiece in the living room. And she found the item behind. She knew there was an item behind the mask that looked like a cylinder.
Yeah.
And it was just a little cylinder, but she
Wow.
couldn't get to the item, and she couldn't see the item exactly, but she could see the silhouette.
She knew where it was, or yeah.
And she knew where it was. Yeah.
So she was under when you hit him. So, so did she watch you while she was astral projecting? But she just kind of
that's where the question lies,
Yeah,
right? Like, if she was actually truly astral projecting, then she would have been able to see exactly where I hit him.
Unless she doesn't remember that part. She's seen you, but she doesn't remember seeing you put, you know what I mean? Because you're in a different state of mind. I don't know how it works. It's interesting.
I would be interested. I'm going to have to ask her exactly how she, like, what she saw and how she was able to find them. Because it is a very interesting question. Although the issue that we had was that we were not able to, like, we tried to do it again, and she was not able to repeat it at all.
Yeah.
And so, like, that, some of the issues we run into.
Yeah. It's because she had, there's no way, because she would have been gone under forever trying to find these items that you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, if anybody has seen like the first series Travelers, like, you'll know that these people have blindfolds on, they have soundproof headphones on, and they have an EEG headband across their forehead. And they're laying down in a cot in a space. Like, honestly, I was not even she was in a room. Where was she? She was in the basement on cot 3. Sorry. She was in spot 3, and I hid the piece of paper I hid in spot 1, which was in the other room. And then the rest of the stuff was upstairs. So, like, she definitely wouldn't have seen me, like, physically do the 2 upstairs.
She had to have seen, like, subconsciously, just doesn't remember.
Right. And that's so, she was able, and we have all of this on camera.
Yeah.
like we actually have we had 14 PoE cameras, which are power over Ethernet. And so like these things are 4K crystal clear with audio, and we had 14 of them set up around the house. Like we were capturing every angle of every room. So I mean, we can prove all of this happening.
Right.
And so I guess like what we really need to look into further with that specifically is you know, what was the difference between the first time she did it and the second time she did it? And I mean, like that's first step. Like what was different, right? But the next step, obviously, would be when we find those differences. Like what is it about the differences that are causing the perfect environment for her to be able to see or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you got to think though, everybody's gonna react differently. So like, I mean, if just because she was able to do it in that situation doesn't mean that anybody else would be able to. And it's hard. Like this is why we need funding, and like because it's like
maybe
we need more data. We need to do
practice. Yeah, maybe it's something that we got to practice in this, like doing, or somehow tap into that side. I've never personally astral projected. I don't think.
Right.
I don't remember, but I don't think I have. But very interesting.
I don't think I have either, honestly.
Yeah, I want to though. No, maybe I don't. I'll be scared. I don't know. I would just think of like the cord, you know, like going back to if you go too far, you'll get lost, like the movies.
Yeah, luckily you don't ever have. Luckily, you not. That's never a concern. Like the way that JW has everything, like with the math and the numbers and the setup and everything. Like the idea is that you are tethered to your body regardless. Right. So no matter how far you go or whatever, you're always going to come back. Because it could be. But
I've never heard of
floating around.
But you know what? What a freaking story that would be, huh? Like somebody getting caught in the abyss. And
what if that's who we're communicating with? Not to be messing around, but what if that's not the dead and that's actually somebody lost
in a coma? Or in a coma, or something like that, maybe. Like these are all questions. These are all questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what that other side is. And I mean, of course, you know, it is like always in the back of our minds because obviously we don't know 100%. But I mean, based on the theories and everything, it hasn't happened yet. We've done dozens of these things, and I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but you know what I mean? I don't know.
Who can astral project all the time? Anybody in the chat? Let us know what it's like.
From the people that I talk to,
I've never seen it happen. I've tried myself.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Can you? Is that a thing where people could just do it when they want to?
Yeah,
there are some people I think that can. But people that I have talked to, you know, like because I worked with Nick and Tessa for Deathwalker, and when we did the experiment for season 4 at Rolling Hills with Nick and Tessa, you know, Tessa had talked about when she was younger, she would astral project almost every night. But as she got older, it started to really make her more and more tired when she woke up to the point where like she would wake up just completely exhausted, drained, no energy. And so, I mean, I would imagine that there are probably some people out there that that they have the ability, and whether they choose to or not. I don't know.
I think like psychics, right? How they remote view, they like go to wherever they're going. Yeah,
it is. It's essentially that's part of what it is that the World Gate experiment allows. He calls it the peregrine experience, which is just the frequencies that the participants hear in their ears, but they're meant to be able to allow the participant to go as far as they want. Like the peregrine falcon, which is, you know, the one that can travel the furthest out of all of them in one swoop, right? And so like that's kind of the part of the idea with the World Gate. But I don't know.
It's very interesting. Very
it gets my brain fried sometimes, and I have to like it's crazy.
My question was Since people who do practice, like say me, I practice that, right? And I do that here in my house. I've never done it in a place that's supposed to be haunted or have like activity, even though probably could have here. Like, do you think that causes a big, and there's I'm going into something with that, but do you think that causes a huge difference on what the results could be for the participants?
Like the location that the experiments are conducted at?
Yeah, like said, like, yeah.
I mean, yes and no. Yes, because when we do these experiments and we pick the location, the experiments have to be like tailored to that location specifically. So it's not like we could just pick a random spot, just set up and do it. It's not that easy because the way it all works, there's like multiple systems that are involved in everything. So like there's the catalyst system, which is the frequencies that are blasted into the atmosphere with those PA speakers. And those combine like infrasound, 𝗟𝗶𝗫𝗀𝗘 frequencies, like a whole bunch of different things. And that's actually supposed to condition the environment for the participants to be able to travel. But those frequencies are tailored specifically to that location based on a whole number of factors, including like numerology, ancient geometry. I don't know if you guys have heard of ancient gematria. There's a whole bunch of different things in play and factors involved that go into it. So it does really take months in order to plan these things.
Wow.
Because,
so I mean, we could do it. I mean, even if we wanted to do it at your house, like we could. Like that is the thing. Like we could do it anywhere, but it just would take months of planning in order to tailor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, like what I was trying to get at was, do you think the entities there, which I kind of see like in Travelers 1, would affect?
I think it can. Everything. Yeah, I think it could have the biggest thing that we would be concerned with is the influence that it could have on the participants while they're trying to travel. Like for instance, during the first series, I think that the thing at the granary is really strong, and I don't know. I think it was just, stalking and seeing what it could. I don't know. Like, I don't know. People at a certain point were getting nervous, and I think Mike G got sick at one point. But with the funeral home, I think that there was a little bit more influence from whatever was there. I think that people, I think that it would affect the experience that people have. Like once they go under, what they may encounter, the things that, they see or whatever. I don't know. That I would imagine that probably could have play a factor in the experience. I don't know if it would, the experiments would go off regardless. It's just a matter. I think that they would just have more effect on the participants than the experiments. Yeah.
What's interesting in Travelers, right? So in the first one, right? The person who was in cot 6, which is like in the middle.
Yep.
They were affected where they couldn't remember, and I think they countered for the most part. Well, I don't know if everybody encountered it, but I know that they kind of encountered something like what they considered like a reptile looking thing. Like they were kind of like sketched out by it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, since that was the middle, and it seemed like the one guy actually he's like, all right, I went past it. The guy who saw his cat, he went past it and then continued on it, and it looked like he was just looking at his memories, like his childhood memories. But then the other people, they kind of went somewhere else with that. But maybe that's like the gatekeeper there, and that's what they counter, because you are going into like another realm,
Yeah, and well, spot 6, especially during the WorldGate experiments, spot 6 is essentially the quote unquote key to unlock the doorway, because the whole idea is that we're opening up a and I hate to use the word portal, but like that's just kind of, for lack of a better term, And the whole thing is like all 5 of the participants plus the middle participant kind of make it open. There's a whole process involved. And so, yeah, it is very important. And that middle person may or may not experience a more intense travel, I guess. A lot of times, you know, we've had people in there, like you said, that don't really remember a whole lot. Or like in one of the first episodes, that Mike, you know, he got sick right in the middle. Once the world gate dropped, he had to get up and get out because he started feeling nauseous and everything. And so, yeah, I mean, that center spot is kind of a it's an intense place.
Yeah, definitely. Damn, where was it? So when you mentioned Tessa and with the rolling hills,
Mhm.
did they do the same thing as like the experiments at the from the granary, or what, did they do
Yeah.
something different? Oh yeah.
Well, they did a hyper realm. So like we have two separate experiments. There's the world gate and then there's the hyper realm. And the world gate, like I said, is to open the doorway and to let participants just go as far as they can, wherever they want. We've had people like in the series, Kayla lived an entire separate life, you know. But the hyper realm is meant to be localized. So it's more like Insidious, where, you know, where they go to the further and then you can see the house glowing and it's like right there kind of thing. Like that's what the hyper realm is meant to be for, to essentially allow people to investigate on the other side if they can get there. Yeah.
That's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
So they did but Nick and Tessa did the hyper realm, and the hyper realm they had an like intent. They had like specific things that they were trying to look for when they were going, and that's why with it being tailored to Rolling Hills specifically, you know, they were looking for the screaming lady, and they wanted to kind of find out answers about that. And Tessa was given tasks, and Nick, we actually bolted into a box, so it was pretty cool.
I don't think
Yeah, it's in that episode too. Season 4, episode 1, Rolling Hills.
Yeah.
Why don't I remember not seeing that? I remember seeing it, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, we actually like screwed Nick into a big wooden box. He like was sitting in a chair inside of a box that had mirrors on all 4 sides, and we actually had to take the panel and put it up there and like screw him into it.
mm,
Do you think it affected Tessa because she is a sensitive? Like, did she ever find her? Like, did you guys get the results you were looking for? Or?
I mean, we got interesting results. I mean, we could corroborate their stories, which was really crazy. Especially because there was a moment where Tessa was on the 3rd floor on the complete opposite end of the building, and Nick was on the 2nd floor in the hallway in this box. And one of the things that Tessa's one of her tasks was for her to go find Nick in the box. And so apparently she went and she found Nick in the box and put her hand on his shoulder, or like right on his back, like by his shoulders. At one point during the experiment, and we have this on film, that we had 2 cameras inside of the box with Nick that somehow we lost the footage. Just for those 2 cameras disappeared somehow. But so we saw Nick, like he was in his state, and then he just wakes up out of nowhere, like looking around, and we could see he was saying something. We couldn't tell what he was saying. Later we find out he says that something just touched me. Something just touched my back. And then Tessa says she found Nick and touched his back.
no.
And so like he wakes up and then he goes right back in and he finds Tessa real quick, and they go through the whole thing holding hands. Like they both described the same thing. And the crazy thing was that at the end of their experiment, when the frequencies were pulling him back out, she described her feeling like her hand was being pulled up away from her, and so she snatched it back. On Nick's side, he said that he was being pulled away from Tessa and was holding onto her hand for dear life, and it slipped and she yanked it out of his hand. And so like this whole sequence of events, like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things about it that are just so weird, but they line up perfect.
Thank you,
So
Dan.
wait, was it Nick pulling her and
Yeah.
she snatched her back? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like something else.
Yeah, Nick
Damn.
and Tessa were holding hands, like
Yeah.
walking down, and then when the frequencies were pulling them back, Tessa said that she felt like something else was pulling her hand away from her, so she snatched it back. But Nick said that he was trying to hold on to Tessa's hand, but Tessa's hand was snatched away from him.
See, I don't want to. I like them.
So crazy.
But I feel like it would be for me because I'm such a skeptic and I'm such an asshole. If they were two strangers, I would probably believe it more than the married couple. You know what I mean? Like,
so and I get that. Now let me put this
just
out.
Being
there.
honest, sorry if to piss anybody off.
No. I appreciate that, but let me say this though, is that we interviewed them separately, and they did not. So as soon as the experiment was done, and we have all of this footage, Tessa sat up in her spot for like 45 minutes while we interviewed Nick about his story first.
Wow.
And then Nick went outside. Then Tessa comes down and we do her interview second.
Yeah.
That's how we look for corroborations and make sure that they're not sharing. You know what I mean? Like, because if we keep them separated, like that's the big thing. We have to keep them separated. They can't talk. They can't communicate. Once they get back, they have to. I know this is like what, but trust me, I'm with you. Okay.
But see, but here's my thing. How did we know they didn't talk about what they were going to say before this even happened? You know what I mean?
They didn't know what their tasks were going to be. JW didn't give her the tasks until right when she was in her spot.
I mean, I booked her for a psychic reading, so obviously I like her. But
she's very good.
It's just
she's very good. Trust me, I'm with you. And the fact, like, that was one thing that I was like really why I wanted to do the show with Nick was because of the fact that I know what's going to go on there, and I know if it's bullshit or not. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to give him any bullshit. I'm going to give him real, legitimate equipment and experiments. And so, I was able to be there for 3 seasons. I know, you know what I mean? And I would have called out bullshit if I saw it.
Sorry, Tessa. Sorry, Nick.
No, you have to maintain a healthy skepticism. And trust me, I am very skeptical about it all as well. It's hard to just blindly believe every story that people tell you, especially when we're talking about like the experiences they may have had. And there are people in the stories that we hear that are very outlandish and crazy, but it's not about what the actual story is necessarily or what they experienced. It's more or less like what kind of correlations are there, and how can we back up certain things. Like we use the EEG headbands and we monitor the alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and theta waves.
I was going to ask you, do you guys use that scientific stuff?
We sure do, man.
Serious.
And so we do that. Plus, we just recently with the Broadwell experiments, we added the environmental sensor array, which was built by Dave Smith of Paranormal 6. But we collaborated with them on what we kind of wanted, and so there's actually 8 pods that have 3 different sensors in them. They got like I think it's temperature, vibration, and magnetic field. And so like we were putting those 3 things, or we were putting those sensor pods around each participant, and then we were monitoring the data live. So we're actually able to like line up if their brainwaves are acting crazy. We can see if anything in the environment is changing. And if we, again, but we're on such limited funding, it's like little pieces there. And so, really, like people get all kinds of money for all kinds of stupid, crazy stuff. Like, why can't we get to do some of this research? Like,
as you were talking about that, not even joking, I felt like somebody went like this to my hair. I think she came and astral projected and was like, "Stop it, girl."
Who, me?
That's
I was like, "What the hell?"
Tessa's watching, and she told you.
She's like, "Don't be talking shit."
Oh, yeah. If you studios are out there listening, man, you gotta come up some money for JW and
stuff like that.
We're doing some amazing work here.
Have you guys looked into? We probably talked about this before. I don't remember, but have you guys ever brought it up to like any type of colleges or something like that?
Colleges, scientists.
Normally they fund.
Yeah. How do you even get funding? How do you even find funding? Like,
go to universities and they'll be like, hey, I'm looking into this, and then they'll like, I don't know. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, you have to like come up with some kind of presentation or something for oh shoot.
You're good.
Hey, hey babe, can you give her one of those things on the table?
You're good.
Sorry.
You're good. No, you're good.
Can
We
you give one of
understand, we
those things on the
understand.
table? It's an indicator. Let her grab one. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that my teammate gets one of these new indicators. No, it's an IDC indicator. It'll have the little lights on the, yes. Yeah, the one, no. It's the one that has the little flexible lights on the top of it. Does that, yes, that one. Correct. All right, we're good. That's for you. All right. Awesome. All right, we'll talk later. All right, sorry about that.
No, you're
You're
good.
good. You're good, Austin. Thank you.
I heard she got good at
Completely forgot. Yeah. Yes, you got good evidence. So, anyways, what was I saying? What were we talking about?
College or universities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. So the way that we have to do that in order to get funding from universities, you have to like create a presentation, or like you have to come up. I can't remember what the thing is called, but you have to come up with it, and then you have to make a presentation to the board. And you have to give them specific amounts and everything. It's a whole process, and JW is kind of against it. And I mean, I understand why. Because it's really more or less, he doesn't want to have to live up to the expectations of a university, especially if we're trying to, we can't guarantee anything. Like, we don't know what exactly it's hard because part of it is that we don't know exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
With, you know what I mean? We're looking at all kinds of data, and we're trying to look for different anomalies, and we'll probably figure out what we're looking for when we see it. You know, or like, it's really hard to figure out how to quantify these experiences. You know what I mean? So,
Can you like, hire somebody that's going to school to study like the mind, and maybe they can give you like, you know, you guys can kind of work together. They're learning as you're learning, and then they're actually studying whatever side that you guys don't know.
Yeah. See, and yeah, no, absolutely. That is something that we have. We're actually working on. We have somebody in mind that we've been trying to. That, I mean, I've told JW to reach out to him about, but like, yeah, it's difficult. We're because most of these people, you know, we got to pay them to come out and be hired. You know, they're not just like interested in. And most of them, even if they are interested, it's not like they own their own equipment that they can bring out wherever we are or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of.
Reach out to Elon Musk.
I don't know if I would. I don't know. Would I want Elon's money or not?
Just kidding.
I mean, I might. I mean, it's money. Money is money. Right? Funding is funding, I guess, as long as Elon wouldn't have expectations of getting it back necessarily, because I don't know. There's not a whole lot of money to be made off of this. It's like, I mean, the money that we get from the participants for their investments and everything, you know, that money goes directly into, you know, what we can. I mean, most of it goes into like planning the experiments, like the location fees, the food for everybody, if we got to rent hotels, all this stuff, like that's most of the cost. JW's travel to get from Maine all the way to the location, usually about $1,000 each way. You know, and that doesn't include like anything that's left is what we put onto equipment. You know, like getting getting more wire, getting better switches, getting better like there's all kinds of equipment that we also build for it. And so it's so complicated with the money, especially. I mean, if we had a lot more funding and some of the instruments that we could buy, like actual scientifically calibrated instruments, like that's really what we would love. You know what I mean? But man, I'll tell you what, there's just too much to like try to get back. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. It just would depend on the circumstances, you know.
I mean, what better presentation than that damn Travelers thing on Amazon? I mean, hello. I mean, not Amazon. Stellar Network. Is it Stellar Network?
You know what? Maybe do
Yeah,
like
it
a
is, but I would argue that that's a good presentation on for like if we were trying to present it to the scientific community, that's not a good presentation.
maybe you guys can produce like a mini short, like, you know, make it like exciting, like a scary movie, how they like B-roll type stuff. But don't make it so serious. Like, get people interested so they know more about it. But in order to do that, you have to do like you're about to produce a movie type, like a B-roll, but make it more like you see the participants, like make it more movie-ish.
Like do more cinematic effect and
Kind of, yeah, like make it like the people laying there and then like, you know, sound effects and like draw people in.
yeah, I mean
I'm all producer. If that works.
Right. I think like the vibe we were trying to go for was more it's more like Skinwalker Ranch vibe.
Well, I mean that you could do something like that, but more make it cinematic, like the sound effect. You're kind of acting, but you're not acting. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to.
JW, we tried to do that with the first one, and it just it takes our attention too much away from the actual experiments, and that's like part of the problem.
Well, you can do the experiments while you're doing an experiment. Just add it in there.
Yeah,
but it's extra work you guys probably don't want to freaking do because you're so no, I get it.
Yeah, I mean the amount of work that goes into just setting it up, and then the amount of detail that we got to pay attention to with every single aspect. Because like if one person's headphones are cutting in and out or whatever, like that's a big problem. You know what I mean? So
I had no idea about this. It was only Jen that told me about this. I had no idea because I don't think it's talked about, and it should be because it sounds really interesting. You know what I mean?
Should be talked about, not because I'm in it, but just because like the experiments are freaking like they really are. I mean,
they sound
the concepts and the actual like the path that JW is trying to go on and like what we're looking at, it is. I mean, it's been looked at somewhat, but the way that JW's got it laid out with the catalyst and the whole, you know, the sacred geometry and everything that is involved in it. Like nobody's done that on that kind of level before, you know what I mean? And I mean it
almost sounds like a movie, but in real life.
It does. It seems like it, you know. I mean, and that's why we believe that it should be filmed and like put out there for people to see. Although the thing is that JW is not an actor. I'm not an actor. Our participants are not actors. Like we're not there to tell a story. We hired
get these YouTubers that over dramatic, you know.
Right. Yeah, we aren't that type. And so like, you know, we're trying to like we'll explain everything in just a matter of like basic, like, you know, we just scientific kind of mindset. But you know, that's why we hired like for Scare Network, Billy, the producer for Scare Network. He was the camera guy the whole time for the first series. And you know, we're kind of trusting him to put together the storyline and do all that. And, you know, we learned a lot from that process. And so with the second one we hired, we brought on somebody that we think really has the same vision that we have.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that this next one will be more like that. However, I guess there was a few crazy things that happened outside of just what I told you about with Kayla and that, but
I don't know. What do you guys think, Jen and Mondo? Do you think I'm like talking out my ass with the like whole B-roll type thing? What do you guys think of that? I think to get like all ages in, you know, more known about it. Because if it's kind of boring, like if you're just like, oh, this is how we do it, blah blah blah.
Have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet?
No, but I need to. That's what I'm saying. I had no idea until I don't know. Sorry, I didn't assume. I'm if it sounded like I was assuming that's how it is, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you're good.
But you know what I mean?
You're okay.
I've been watching stuff and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? This is boring.
No, you're good. No, trust me. I think if you watch it, you'll kind of understand like what we were trying to go for. But obviously, we definitely like know that we wanted to present it. We wish that we would have been able to present it in a different way. And so that's why, you know, we wanted to do this next one just because like we have to we're hoping that it will be presented more in depth this time,
Mhm.
and because it's really hard to explain everything
You guys
involved
more.
in this. There's so many different things. Like we can't just say, "Oh yeah, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it,"
Yeah.
because there's aspects to each piece that is involved in it. You know?
Yeah. I hope you guys, even Lourdes and Ron, I hope they got a good thing going too. I hope people, you know, because it's very interesting. Well, for me,
Yeah.
I don't think everybody. It's for everybody.
Speaking of Lourdes and Ron, how did that go? Did they? Well, my question was, did they use the digital seance experience while people were under, by any chance?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, come on.
Ooh.
Look, I had a question.
We're gonna take that as a.
I wanted to know. All right, so my question is, you can just say like wink one for yes or two for no.
Just, you know,
No. My question is, if you think the voice is coming through where maybe they're participants while they were under, but did you guys try that experience? But did you try it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we tried a number. We tried a number of things.
It's your consciousness out there.
Let me just say this: that everything that you've mentioned, we've done it, we did it, and more.
Nice.
And we have looked at it and
I like
more. We are. You're right there with us. You got the same kind of thoughts that we have.
yeah.
We took we because we know what you're saying. We do believe that one of the theories that we were looking at is like whether or not the participants are manifesting their own voice into the audio, whether that's through Ron's the digital seance experience audio, or if the audio that was looping back, or that was coming out of the speakers and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a number of things that we were looking at with all of that. Trust me, I'm not going to give out a whole lot more. I'm not going to say much more because we want everybody to go watch the second one, which, by the way, is going to be free. I promise it's going to be free. We're not going to get that last minute behind the paywall. Like, no, it's free.
When does that come out?
FREE.
We are hoping to have it out by like October or November again. Halloween would be ideal. We just got to kind of see.
Soon? That's
Very
pretty
soon.
fast.
Okay.
Hoping.
And it's on your website, right? Yeah, it's on the website. Because Dan Tech's. So I'm
the Institute's website. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'd be cool because like I was thinking, because just we've heard Ron Sting in person, and I have.
It's amazing.
A whole bunch of questions on that.
Actually, can you tell us your experiences with sitting in on it?
Yeah, because we did it for in Deathwalker season 4. I brought them out for the 𝗵𝗘 Manor episode they did. Well, actually, like Ron is very open about what he's using and how he's doing it. It's not like it's anything really. There's no secrets that he has, because essentially what he's doing is he's taking 3 white noise generators, 3 separate individual white noise generators that are actually using an RNG to a random number generator in order to be able to keep it like randomly generating white noise, right? And maybe I'm talking on my ass there, Ron. You may want to comment and correct that if I but I know that they are true random white noise generators. He has 3 of them that kind of go into a mixer and run through 2 different programs. One of the programs is to slow the audio down. I don't know the exact speed that he has it at, but the other program is an AI audio filter called Crisp. And what this does, it's actually filtering out everything except for human vocal tones. So it's actually like looking for human vocal frequencies and vocal tones within the random white noise, picking it out and filtering everything else out, so that what you have left is what you hear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the source of the audio. I see it in front of me. I can see, and I mean, Tony Rathman learned from him too, and so I mean, it's not like it's a really big secret, but it just shows that the work that Ron and Lourdes are doing is unbelievable, and what what they're looking into. I mean, especially because now they're adding more and more. Like they're trying to just add a whole bunch of audio white noise, you know, because like the more you add in there, the more. I mean, honestly, it's the more you can kind of eliminate the idea that maybe it was just that audio source or whatever. Like, no, let's just keep adding them in and see if we're still getting all of this, because the AI audio filter is going to have a lot more trouble sifting through 3 audio sources than 1, right?
Yeah.
So you would think it wouldn't be able to pick out the same kinds of stuff, but I mean, I don't know. There's something. He's found a way to find the voices within white noise, in my opinion. But you know, yeah, it's amazing. It really is.
We've had that experience with them about to be a year ago, but I feel like it's taken on like a whole nother level since then. So I'm looking forward. Ron, Lourdes, if you guys are watching, we're definitely looking forward to checking you guys out soon.
Oh yeah,
so we can see it again.
I did have a question. Damn, that completely threw me off. Oh, did Ron or Lourdes actually go under themselves when they did it?
Both did.
Because I know Lourdes
both did.
Yeah. All right.
Ron did once. Lourdes did twice, actually, I believe.
Nice. I would love to see what you got.
And honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know what her experiences were. I was not present during her interviews. I was out making sure that nobody else was talking to each other.
Yeah. Did you go under this one? In the new one? No,
I didn't. No. JW wants me to get under. He wants me to have the experience, because the first time I went under, I didn't. Like, I don't think I did. You know what I mean? And even during it, like during my second, like when I was doing the interview, like I was kind of like, I don't know. You know,
you're skeptic.
I'm not sure if it's like it's. I couldn't tell if it was my imagination. You know, what's the difference between the genuine travel or just me thinking or having a thought or whatever, right?
That would have been me too. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I don't know. But I haven't had this time I chose not to do it, just because I felt like the people that are you know, paying participants obviously should get priority before me, right? Plus Jada eventually he wants to get me down to like really give it a solid try, but you know, right now it's not a priority.
Well, I was gonna say, has he ever done it himself?
No. Can't do it without him. I mean, nobody else knows how to run the system yet. Eventually I'm gonna learn how to, like, when the system is running, like that's his domain, because it has to be done correctly. Like the timing has to be right with all of the frequencies and everything, because he actually has like 5 computers set up and he has to like time the frequencies just right and hit this one to go. So eventually I'm going to learn how to do all that so he can get a chance at it, but it's hard.
That's cool.
And plus our minds are racing too much. Like it's so hard for me to get into like a calm meditative state and just clear my mind. Like I don't know how to do that.
Well, that was my whole thing with like one of the reasons I couldn't meditate in the first place, because I'm always like this.
The gears are grinding.
Yeah, thinking got stuff going on in your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to smoke some weed.
That's what I said.
No, ma'am.
I like her idea.
I don't smoke, but that's what I heard.
Not condone drug use.
No, ma'am. Trying to get us striked off of YouTube.
Hey, you know what? It's a plant. It just grows like
natural. Fuck it.
Natural.
Oh shit.
I don't condone drug use. We don't condone drug use. But if you're in the state of California and you're over the age of 21, enjoy responsibly.
Exactly. Don't smoke and drive though.
No. Responsibly, right?
Yeah. People are smoking and driving all the time.
People are smoking. Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
can
know,
get a DUI for being high.
Everybody,
Just
everybody in the
FYI,
morning
guys.
has a card, and I'm
very
like,
true.
ugh.
It's very true. You can get a DWI.
Did you just see something float by me, or is that just my screen tripping?
You got
I
that
think I'm high.
AI
I don't know. My
virtual
daughter
background.
smoked weed earlier. Maybe I got contact high. I don't know.
Well, no, you got
My
that
daughter
virtual
smoked weed.
background. It's like all I can see is just
The moon.
Maybe that's what. No, it was like right here. Went like. Bloop. Oh, maybe it just.
your virtual back. Yeah, as you move,
Yeah,
it's
there
like
we go. Okay,
yeah.
there it is.
See,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if I move the wrong way. It's like I'm getting
Question.
sucked into the.
On the going back to Project Worldgate. So
Mhm.
on the website, it says that basically the goal is to have them either astral project.
Mhm.
Wait a second. Project their consciousness to another dimension, basically astral project, or communicate with other entities from other realms. Has anybody done that?
Well,
As far
that's
as communicate.
like yeah. I mean, we've had people. Some of the participants talk about encountering different things. I know Eric, my partner. There was one of the experiments. He actually was like with a woman for the whole. That's actually when we captured him with the negative brainwaves. During that experiment was when he was talking about like the lady that he was with was saying something to him, but he couldn't like make out what she was saying. And then she pointed up to a window or up to the door, and he couldn't get to the door. So it was that moment, and that's why part of my thought process is that like she was somehow transferring information to him. So instead of the output signal being picked up by the EEG, it may have been an input signal. I don't know. I'm just like throwing crazy ideas out there.
Yeah.
Oh shit, where was I going with that?
I'm stuck at
So-
input and output. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, what does that mean?
Okay, so yeah, now I say, all right. So when you look at an EEG machine, the way that an EEG machine works is that it's measuring the output, the frequency that your brain is releasing, like your alpha wave and your beta wave. All of your brain waves have different frequencies that they're actually able to be that they're measured, their output frequencies. But so when you have a negative reading on an output frequency, like wouldn't that be, it's the opposite of an output frequency. It's a negative version of an output, which
Yeah.
is input, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I know it's far-fetched.
no
I
idea.
mean, it is. So like, you know, because if you're positive, like
We're
you
just
got
like-
positive and negative, but like, you know, when you go back, you know, I just think of it like that. If a negative frequency is not an output, and it's just my kind of thought process.
Anybody know
but-
in the chat? I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm not that very good.
So
I'm
like
not
when
very
you
good at
measure
math.
any kind of frequency, like if you have a sensor up against your heart, you're measuring your heartbeat. Like that is a frequency. That is a beat that is being measured. And you have the echocardiograms that are like showing your heart rate, right?
Yeah.
So that's like measuring an output. That is measuring a frequency that your heart is putting on. Now your brain also, the different brain waves that are produced by your brain can also be measured basically the same way. Except the frequency, yeah. So, like it's basically like it'll act like a heartbeat. Like it'll be measured. The alpha wave can be measured like a heartbeat, and it's just basically like it just produces that same kind of waveform. Just you know, so it's just measuring how many times it's producing the beat or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
And so if there's no output that to measure.
Right. I
You
got
see what I'm saying? Now it's not going out anymore.
You're not speaking technical. Yeah.
Right. I mean, is that you get following now?
I am.
So like if it's not going out anymore, like you're not getting those output, but it's like pulling that back in. That's a negative. Like that's the kind of the way I'm like visualizing it in my head, at least.
Yeah.
It's like instead of it going out, like something's going in.
What would that be? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I'm wondering, like, and I mean, this is where I'm like piecing together things that are like could be very far-fetched and out there, but I feel like the lady that Eric was with in his experience when she was saying something to him and he couldn't make out what she was saying, or at least he says he couldn't remember what she was saying or couldn't remember being able to make out what she said. Like, I wonder if there was some information being like passed along to him from an actual entity in a different dimension. Like, in just, this is all.
It wasn't going hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm wondering, because he was holding her hand apparently throughout the entire experience. And so because of that connection, maybe she was able to give him information or transmit data from her to him, which would
that relayed the message to him. It was like a triangle effect.
Yeah. And so, and basically, instead of there being an output signal, now you got one signal just briefly being an input.
Unless she was in a state of mind, that went.
Well, the thing is that this entity was something that Eric encountered during his experience. Like, this woman is an entity that he encountered while he was under.
Right.
So this lady in the other side, this other dimension, could have possibly been directly communicating with Eric. And this goes back to what you were saying, like the direct contact, direct communication. But we were able to, and I mean, this is, again, it's just a far-fetched kind of connection for me, at least. But is it possible that when we had that negative brainwave measurement, that he was, at that moment, at least in our realm, at that moment, he was receiving information from her? And so that's why, instead of it showing just for the gamma wave, just gamma, all the other ones were normal, just that one shot down to a number of different negative values. And the scale doesn't even go negative, so I don't know why or how, especially because it didn't do it all before and it didn't do it again afterwards. Still hasn't done it again afterwards, so we don't know how the negative reading could have happened. It should.
Maybe that's how psychics do the read. Like, you're able to pick up stuff. It's that what he's talking about. Like,
well, I wonder if it's like shaman. Yeah. Well, I almost want, like, okay, yeah. So if psychics were to receive information, maybe. Yeah. Like,
the brain is like, it's just almost like it's on pause while they're grabbing the information.
Yeah. So like, instead of an output, it's like, no, we're going back. I'm giving you something
for a minute for them to grab the information, and then I don't freaking know. There's so many.
Yeah. Well, they have that. I mean, people have measured that. Say, example, like Tyler Henry, they measured his brain waves and stuff like that while he's doing a reading, and shit was like all over the place.
Yeah.
The activity definitely increases. And I know that they've done MRIs, they've done all of that stuff during, exactly what you said. But we unfortunately don't necessarily have the ability to, like, I don't know. It's a lot more difficult in our circumstances, I feel like. Because we would have to like actually dedicate a whole bunch of experiments and time just for that purpose. And then that takes away from Hyper Realm and World Gate. And we always have limited time at every location, like 6 days.
Unless, Jen, they're using different equipment when they were measuring his brain. What they're using is different stuff than whoever was testing him.
I would imagine what they were using is probably way more
higher tech,
expensive, exactly.
They're using more doctor terms,
like medical grade equipment. Yeah.
And then what you guys have shows just different, but it's almost the same thing. I wonder.
Yeah, just on a much more rudimentary scale.
Yeah, more affordable. Well, I don't want to say affordable, but
I mean, they're like $200 a piece just for the headbands, and then
there's none of that shit. Yeah, exactly.
No, but like compared to what the doctors use.
Oh yeah, no, it's not.
You're comparing with the doctors. That's like
it's not like
hundreds.
Dr. Drew is the one that did Tyler Henry. It's not like he has his own little connector stuff. And he's like, hey, my friend's little lab. Look you up right now.
Right.
Maybe you should try to get Henry, Tyler Henry. Like, hey, listen, we're desperate. We need. You've been tested on scientifically.
Well, there's actually a guy that I have been told about that I think we're actually going to be looking into. We're going to be reaching out to, that actually is a neuroscientist that studies brainwaves and focuses on that, and he is genuinely interested in the paranormal. And he actually has taken his EEG machine out and done stuff during like psychic readings. He's actually done that. And so I guess I'm going to try to get in contact with this guy, or JW is one of the others. I think that we definitely want to do that for sure.
Fingers crossed.
Uh,
I think, yeah. Todd
I
and
don't know if
Carmela.
anybody, you remember the movie Flatliners? So, you know, I don't know if you know Todd and Carmela, the Cocos. So they had a good comment there, which is kind of true.
Oh yeah,
So,
JW and I are supposed to be going on their show soon. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Wait a minute. If you guys get JW and we don't,
yeah,
I'm gonna be
we'll
very
see.
sad. Just kidding. No,
Yeah, Todd, we're gonna have to have a chat, buddy. I don't know. We may or may not have to have a chat. I'll get with you tomorrow or something about it.
but wait. I have another. So
Well,
okay.
Guys talking about that show, please check them out. Their show's called Stay Haunted.
They're hilarious. Bro.
It's on Mondays at 8 o'clock. Check them out.
Todd and Coco, listen to me. Todd and Carmela.
Todd and Carmela and our good friends Chris and Audra. Yeah. Check them out.
I love watching them. They're so funny. No, what I was going to say. So now going to the experiences of, like we kind of talked on the backstage of the people who did it. They're reflecting after the fact, like 6 months after and stuff like that. For one example, Melissa, that she. Yeah. So it seems like she started seeing actually. She went to, I guess she investigated like 6 places after the whole thing at the granary, and so she would see a spirit. Probably a few places she saw, like, you know, like it sounded like she was seeing it just like if I was seeing Armando right next to me, like that. And at first it freaked her out, where she was like, I think she left the room, is what she said. And the second time, she kind of like saw it and was like, and then like backed away. And I wish she would have like talked to them. I know I probably would have done the same shit. I don't even know. Like maybe not at this point because I'm kind of used to that. But do you know if anybody else has experienced something crazy? Because that's pretty wild for someone who never really experienced to now after the experiment having those experiences, because you're open now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, there have been I know that Pat has had like crazy man, I don't know, you're talking about like after, like post experiments, like just having like, I know Amy said that she had something that was following her around for a little bit, and Melissa did too. I honestly know Mike and Chris, I believe, said that they had something that was following them around at different locations too for a few weeks afterwards as well. But I don't know if I can attribute that necessarily to the experiments or the location, because we were there for 6 days. You know, I mean, it's hard to say that maybe they just didn't like, connect with Mike and Chris and say, hey, I'm going to follow you around for the next couple of weeks, buddy.
Yeah, there's too many factors there.
True, because it's a haunted location, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole, if having a haunted location kind of would affect it. Yeah, because so when you're doing the meditation and going back to like say Monroe stuff, you're technically supposed to build your bubble, right? And because of that, I can tell you like but when I started my meditation journey 1,000 years ago, it's really going on almost 10 years actually. But I had an experience because I wasn't really I was like, I don't got time for the whole grounding shit.
Right.
I understand why people do the whole grounding thing now. After that, but I had an experience where it was weird. It was like Inception. Did I ever mention this to you? So really quick, so you can hear it. So pretend I saw myself laying down in the bed. Like I knew I was laying down in the bed, right? In my bed. This was another house. And then I woke up. Our youngest daughter at that point was about 2. And she came into the room. I thought it was awake. I legit thought I was awake. I was not fucking awake. I was dead ass asleep. I thought it was awake. So she came into the room and she climbed on the bed and she kind of like went on top of me, like how she like normally does. And she'd be like, like all in my face, kids.
Yeah.
And then she did something like weird where I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like it looked like her, but it wasn't her.
Yeah.
And when she opened her mouth, like she went to go say something, her mouth like opened up the sides of her whole fucking face, and I like flipped out, and I went, wow, like I flung that shit off my chest, and I was like, what the hell? And then I woke up, and that woke me up. And then when
Did
I
you
woke
actually
up,
wake up to your kid like across the room or something? Like what happened?
I woke up, and then I didn't wake up. It was like another dream. I had to wake up. So I was literally was like when I tell you about Inception, if you ever seen it, it's like in a dream, in a dream. I was in like a third dream. I was in a third realm. I don't know where the fuck I was at. And that
so
was
like you thought you woke up, and then you woke up again.
And I woke up again.
Damn.
Did you wake up when you woke up again? Did you find your daughter on the other side of the room?
No.
All right. See, that would have been the craziest thing I've heard in a long time. Is if like in the first dream or in the deepest dream you did it, and then the second dream you woke up, oh, it's just a dream. Third dream, no, she's over there.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're dreaming when you're peeing. Have you guys
like
ever had
Freddy
an
Krueger stuff.
accident? Tell me, you guys. Everybody's almost had one. Like they're dreaming when they're peeing and they almost pee on themselves because it feels so real.
No.
I mean, maybe women do because they can sit down. They have the advantage of sitting down while they're peeing, so they can still be half asleep.
Yeah.
Where I mean, I feel like I have to like wake up in order to stand and not pee everywhere.
Men, not to be gross, but men have a longer way to travel. Our bladders sit so close.
Yeah. Plus
it's
the
like
standing part versus the sitting part. I feel like
we're jumping into pee talk now. See, only on Spooked Coast to Coast do you get a little bit of everything.
I know Mondo's back there, like just.
Mondo's like, really? Are we really talking about pee? Thank you, Limestone.
I know. I mean, I'm assuming this is why kids kind of like wet their bed. I don't know. Even though she didn't do it, that one didn't do it. But maybe they think they're peeing and they don't pee. Or obviously they're not late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
like when you pee in your dreams, you pee for real.
Yeah. To almost end
why
the
do kids
show,
pee in their dreams in their sleep?
Don't. If you feel like you're peeing in your dream, you feel peeing, don't pee. Hold it because you will pee on yourself.
You better run to that astral bathroom.
Just listen up, kids.
Don't pee in your dream. That's all I'm gonna say.
If you have to pee in your dream, hold it.
So, I mean, I don't even know how I got with the scary entity thing. So that scared. That freaked me out. Where
that sounds scary.
Did not.
There's a lot of Inception.
After that, because that shit freaked me out. A 2-year-old, and I'm like, I don't want to see that craziness.
Right.
And I kind of feel like that.
That was your kid. That was your kid that you seen. It wasn't like some random child.
No, that thing of thing of spice.
Oh my God.
I feel like that thing was maybe something in, I don't know, like another dimension that I can't see. That house, they had like little off shit. Something was freaking out my kid at one point. My oldest.
The line.
Yeah. But there was stuff like I would hear shit like talking on hallway. So I understand what you're saying. So you got to protect yourself with weird shit out there.
Yeah. And definitely don't I mean, you can be open enough to try to, when you get over there, you don't want to completely just open yourself up and take whatever you see and go after it kind of thing. You got to maintain some form of guard. Like I would imagine at least while you're over there, because I mean, I guess the way I look at it is that when you leave your body like that, your body's an empty vessel, and somehow or another, if we're in the right location, could it possibly, that's a question and a concern that we look at as well during the experiments.
100%. Because of that and a few other things, like I feel
it hasn't happened yet.
I read people, you can get attachments that way. So people don't.
Yeah.
I know maybe others don't think so. I think so.
I mean, we haven't had it happen yet to where like somebody was actually like possessed or, you know, taken over or anything like that. I do think that maybe like Melissa and Amy and there could possibly be attachment. But again, I don't know if that's because of the experiments or if it's because of the location, because the granary itself is a crazy location.
Yeah.
And the entity there, the real one that's there is like super powerful. It can, I mean, I've seen it do some crazy stuff to people. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
Super cool. Very interesting.
It's all fascinating.
This
Huh?
is really cool. Yeah.
It's all fascinating.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We found the answer already. I don't think we're supposed to know.
I don't think that we are even close to the answer yet.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we're definitely not supposed to know. And I do believe that me and JW actually, like, we expect the universe to try to throw wrenches in the gears to
Yeah.
try to either prevent us from conducting the experiments or, I mean, really it is to try to prevent us from conducting them, I believe, because if it's not issues with JW getting down from Maine to the location,
Thing. Yeah.
like, I mean, there's a time where he had to drive 50 miles an hour the whole way because his engine kept overheating for whatever reason. The ball bearing goes out on his trailer and then it's perfectly fine. No issues on the way back.
Yeah. It's like something.
Didn't even get it looked at. Just
maybe you guys were getting close and it's like, put the brakes on.
But it happens every time.
Oh.
Every time we do this,
maybe the more you're going, the more you're going to find the answer. And that's where it's like, stop. Like it's telling you stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's going to try. And
don't stop. Don't listen to it. Yeah.
We're going to pull these out of our ass if we, you know, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're always going to happen.
Yeah.
The universe can't stop us.
Yeah, that's right. You hear that?
I'm going to have to get some kind of protective suit to protect me from lightning and many other.
But we love you though. They love you. They appreciate you.
I hope so.
We just want answers. That's it.
And speaking of loving Austin, we definitely love and appreciate you for coming on with us today. Austin, please, if you can, remind the good folks where they can find you, where they can check you out.
Everything.
Yeah, you can check out the institute with where travelers and all of that. That can all be found on idcinstitute.net. And I can't remember. Is there a hyphen or not?
Is it com or not? Is it com or not net? Because I'm on com.
It's net, actually. idcinstitute.net.
Even though there is, if you go to idc.com, because I did do that.
Well, idcdevices.com will take you to IDC devices, but I'm pretty sure it's.
No, it switches to com, FYI. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it does. So IDC devices, idcinstitute.com. Yeah, he does have that. Yeah, he said he actually, now that I think about it, he said he owns like .org, .net, .com. Like he owns all.
I've been to all of them.
Yeah, they all go back to the same place. Yeah, but so that's where you can find information about our upcoming experiments and the past experiments and everything. And then for direct links on any of the devices, idcdevices.com. Plenty of products to choose from and more products coming.
Yeah,
awesome.
Get yourself a IDC Spirit Box.
Yeah,
direct links are the best. They really are.
Yeah.
Take it from the three of us here that have experimented with the guys.
We got our own.
We're not saying it just because Austin is here. It's an amazing.
It's not my product.
Yeah, I told Jay, because when I bought it, we talked on the phone. I said I'm going to call it, because I don't understand the technical stuff. I said I'm just going to tell people it's a Spirit Box on steroids. That's all I'm going to say. It's just badass device. It's really cool.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. It's a random ghost box it's a random random scanning ITC device that uses your body as the antenna.
Yeah. Right.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
Awesome. And I think what you guys are doing is awesome.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. Thank you for communicating and talking with us today.
Yes.
I do want to remind folks of our good friends Sean and Cooney, the New Reality. They're coming out with an episode. It's at 8 or 9 o'clock today, so tune in for that. And as always, please remember, if you want to get spooked, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, and please feel free to comment. Tell your friends, tell your family, come
Tell
watch.
your random babies. Put it on their tablets.
Links in the
Until
chat. Yes,
next
thank
week,
you.
we will see you. Happy Father's Day. We'll do a nice little episode for Father's Day to celebrate me and Joey.
Yes.
So then, see you guys.
How about awesome?
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.